Yes, Artie was 80, but in my head, he still had at least one more life left that was about my age. This time a Christian, a Republican, sugar mama, because I felt like he deserved that. He was still full of life. As long as it was not winter in Atlanta, he was a Floridian through and through. I just knew he had more time. Time for stories where he was the hero, more laughs, more shopping for the kids, more scheming, more him backseat roller coasting as I drove through the mountains of Colorado, more joy, because when Artie was around, there was always laughing and joy and scheming and without a doubt, fun adventures. For another reason this is hard, I don't know how you do justice to a man that was immortal. And that's what he was in my eyes, bigger than life. I always saw him that way. I was blessed to be his niece and never have to deal with the consequences of his actions, which, contrary to his version of the story, was not always perfect. I just got the good stuff, the fun. I got the lessons too. The lessons in prayer. My faithful grandparents prayed for every wrong step he took. The lessons in seeing the best in people. Artie had many quirks that could drive you bonkers, but somehow they always faded. The lessons in generosity. I don't think I've lived in a house my entire life that didn't have furniture paid for by Artie, even if the reason that he was giving up the furniture is because they wouldn't let him take it where he was going. He seriously would have given you the shirt off his back. He loved giving people stuff, as well as the recognition from giving people stuff. I learned that you can always take a restart. Your mistakes do not have to define you. And maybe most importantly, I learned family was it, the end all be all. He loved his family. He wanted the best for us, and he was pretty convinced he knew what that was for all of us. He wanted to be loved by his family. He loved the history of his family. I think we were all taught something about our roots that we didn't know from him. Artie and I were very different in many ways, but one of the very overriding ways that in both of our lives, the way that we were the same, is we both wanted so much to have the love and respect of my grandmama and pa. The funny part is that with all the missteps and mistakes that Artie took in his life, I learned that we both had it, and we couldn't lose it. That we both had it, and we couldn't lose it no matter what. Not their approval on our actions per se, but they were always there to help pick up the pieces, and they were always there in the aftermath. I think the mutual pedestal that we put Grandma and Pa and his parents on bonded us. Speaking of Artie's missteps, one of the things that made Artie was going all in, not holding back. If a little is good, all in was better. This made the missteps big. More importantly, it made the straight steps huge. He made miracles happen. He was a miracle. He taught me to believe in miracles. From his life, I see the benefits of jumping in with both feet, and I'm trying harder to be better at that. My whole life, I've been able to see God pursue Artie. It has always stood out to me. I hope he saw it. But in stories and circumstances and small things, you could see Jesus. Things like sharing a jail cell with a TV evangelist. Who does that? Truly, some of my greatest lessons about God I either learned from Artie or being with Artie. I've learned while with Artie and others reacting to Artie. I learned about God's protection in one drive through Atlanta. Nothing scared him. His driving and language through downtown Atlanta scared the snot out of me. I'm so blessed that I knew him, and he was such a huge part of my life. I wish I could remember stuff the way he could. You can imagine what that brain could have done if he hadn't used it for so long. He could remember details like no one else, or he made them up on the spot. I'm not really sure which. I could go for a while about how Artie touched my life and the things I've learned from him, but knowing Artie the way I do, this service is interrupting his day. I am sure since August 13th, when he got to heaven, he's been telling stories, getting acquainted with old friends and family, meeting new friends, and having elaborate parties, even for heaven's standards. Asking questions, and more importantly, for all of us, petitioning God to align things in all of our favors. I also know that he stopped to make sure there was enough pomp and circumstances for his funeral, and that we were giving him the send-off to actual mortality that he deserved. So since I know you're listening, I love you. I will miss you. I'm proud and honored to have known you. And I thank you for being a huge part of my life. Now go enjoy heaven because you deserve it.